So I wrote my 3 rules for socializing. And by socializing, I really intended these rules to be for business networking. And I wrote them 9 days ago with the intent of turning it into a podcast episode, this episode. And now rereading these rules, I also realized that they are the same rules that I have for dating, which is really funny because I intended these to be for business networking. But it's so funny. These are the same rules that I use for dating, these 3 rules. And they are rules that I adhere to when I meet new people, or when I sit down for coffee with new people, or when I have a remote video coffee with new people. These are the 3 rules that I use. So I'm going to share them. 3 rules. Number 1, let the other person talk more than you. Listen intently. They will like you more for this. The sweetest sound to a person is their name and their voice. People want to get into the flow state telling you stories, and people want their stories and what they have to say to be appreciated. You might be the coolest, most interesting person in the world, but people would rather hear themselves tell you stories than hear your stories. Most people, not me. I want to listen to you. Part of this is ego. People want to prove to other people that they're cool by sharing stories and by getting validation. Another part is selfishness. A lot of people just don't have enough opportunities to talk, and they're not listened to enough. And if you can listen to them, you will be their favorite person. People just love to be listened to. That is something that I realized. I realized this in 2015, I think, when I was going to tech events every night in New York City. And at first I tried talking about myself, and I found it to be exhausting, partly because it was a lot of talking for me to do, and also partly because I could tell that people just wanted to talk about themselves. So then I said, F it, I'm going to let them talk about themselves. And the results that I was getting, which was more clients, people remembering me for SEO, they were better. So that's number 1, let the other person talk more than you. Listen intently, they will like you more for this. Number 2, don't reveal much about yourself. This is a crazy one. But what you do reveal, have it be big. Drop a few accomplishments here and there, and that's it. People's brains will fill in the rest and expect you to be greater than you are. I've done some really cool things. I don't feel much insecurity about my accomplishments, but there was a time where I did feel insecurity about my life and about the things that I had done. And I found myself making a critical error in those times. In fact, I think this one was 2017, and I was getting into crypto. And I started going to crypto events in New York City, not just plain old tech events, but crypto events. Bitcoin events, Ethereum events, ICO events, and talking to people. And I would meet so many super wealthy people who were getting into crypto. And I wasn't as wealthy as them, and I wasn't as accomplished as them, and I felt very insecure. So I would talk about all the things that I did. But again, let people do most of the talking. And so my new rule became, I would only say a few things about me, and I would make sure that they were the biggest ones, the things that I wanted them to remember me for, and the things that were most likely to get a positive reaction. But then, and this is what a lot of other people don't do, but this is what I do, then I would flip it back on the person. I would try to get them talking again. It's funny because I have a daily TikTok, Instagram reel where I talk about myself and share things that I'm learning. I have this podcast where I talk and I talk and I talk and I talk. But when I'm meeting people, I prefer to be the one who is just not doing much of the talking and not doing much of the sharing stuff about myself. Because then people will want to share everything they know with you and everything they've done, and you will learn way more and people will like you more. It's a great combination. People will like you more and you will get more value from the relationship and the interaction. And the truth about people is people want to be around successful people. And by not saying too much about yourself, people will fill in the rest for how successful you are. So in 2017, I started doing this. I really only said a few things about myself here and there when I was asked, and then I would turn it back on the other person and ask them questions. And I developed a great network of people in the crypto space, which I was able to leverage when we made the biggest blockchain meetup in the world. And through the network that I had initially developed, we were able to throw all of these panels and events. And it was a good time, and it worked out. All right, number 3. This one's funny because of some of the things that I cover on the show, but I really believe this for in-person interactions or remote interactions, one-on-one interactions, group interactions. I really believe this. Don't lie. Here's what I wrote. If you're caught, it's over. So don't lie. If you're caught, it's over. Reputation is everything. If you don't want to share something because it's embarrassing or because you think it will lower your value, you can say, I would prefer not to share it, but don't lie. I believe this in relationships. I believe this in romantic relationships. I believe this in business relationships. I don't lie. Part of the reason is lying is exhausting. You have to carry all these different lies in your head. I'm not a very good liar. Some people are great liars. They can do it effortlessly. I am not a very good liar. And I don't like burdening myself with different lies that I have to remember. But another reason is the consequences of getting caught are very heavy. Reputation is so important. I found that it is just easier to go through life and to have solid, long-lasting relationships if you don't lie. And now when there's something that I don't want to say, I just say I would prefer not to share it. And that's that. And you can do the same. So those are my 3 rules. Pretty simple rules. I'm going to read them again. Number 1, let the other person talk more than you. Listen intently. People will like you more for this. Number 2, don't reveal much about yourself, but what you do reveal, have it be big. Drop a few accomplishments here and there, and that's it. People's brains will fill in the rest and expect you to be greater than you are. And number 3, don't lie. If you're caught, it's over. Reputation is everything. If you don't want to share something because it's embarrassing or because you believe it will lower your value, you can just say, I would prefer not to share it. This is episode 206 of The Edward Show. This is my daily growth hacking, growth marketing podcast, but networking is a big part of this. If you want to be a good marketer, you need to understand people. And if you know how to socialize with people, then you will be much better at understanding people. And networking and socializing is something that I personally just enjoy talking about, enjoy learning about and talking about and reading about. 2 of my favorite books, How to Win Friends and Influence People and Influence by Robert Cialdini. These are both networking and socializing books, great books. I love these books. I love learning about this stuff and talking about this stuff. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed sharing this one. I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.